Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's a trade of the day, Friday afternoon / evening, Saturday morning, Zoom edition, depending on where you are. And the market has been sleepy and drowsy this week, just sideways consolidation, not much interesting happening. So, it was a holiday weekend earlier this week for the US. There was some semi-interesting economic data that came out. Inflation was slightly less than we thought, or was it consumer prices? I don't remember, but anyway. So the market kind of absorbed it, didn't really do much with it, at least the crypto market anyway. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart and check it out. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
Yes.
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
thank
Yes.
you. Okay, so I've still got my Fibonacci retracement going here. And for those of you who are new to this tool, it's sort of advanced, but it just shows me where price is likely to retrace and then perhaps shoot up again. I'm starting my structure here at 40,000 and riding it up here to 73.7, give or take. And you can see that it dipped down and respected this. Well, let me turn this off. This 0.5 mark back in late April, and then came down again. It's making higher lows. That's a good sign. It's bullish. So it came down to the 382 later in May. Then it dipped down to the 0.236 area. And I thought it might go for that again, but we'll see if it makes its way up. Not much really happening there with the EMAs. They're all kind of on top of each other. That's well, these two right here, we got the 20 and the 50 pretty close to each other, and then 200 down here. So we're well above the 200, hanging around the 20 and the 50. If you watched the CryptNation call yesterday, Brandon was going over EMAs with some detail. So he's a little better at it than I am, but just thought I'd make you guys aware, and I have added these EMAs to my charts. If you want this chart layout, I can copy the link and send it to you.
What's the indicator that gives the information at the end of the EMA?
It's the multi EMA. I found this a few weeks ago, and
and it's in the settings.
Yeah.
Okay, I might have that one, but I didn't realize that feature was in there.
Right. I was using a different EMA that didn't have that, and I wanted something that actually told me which EMA it was, because I was showing three of them. It's annoying.
That's my whole point too.
Yeah, and that's why I did that. And anyway, it's a little jumbled now. Let me
What's the difference between the EMA and the SMA?
EMA is exponential, SMA is simple. So exponential has a little more math involved. I can't recall the exactly how it works, but
Okay. I knew what the words were. I just like,
yeah.
okay, what are they doing different? So
yeah,
okay.
so I didn't really help you much there, did I? So
Yeah, well, it happens.
Kind of drew a blank, but yeah, exponential and simple. So yeah, that's here, and then this multi EMA, which you can get here on your indicators, is by Chipmunk. So that's the one I'm using. All right, put the fib back on, and let's check on Ethereum as well. And I've got the EMAs here, and it's above all of them. You know, with that news we had last week about the ETF, and the talking heads are talking like July maybe for that. So it'll be interesting to see if we break the all-time high, which is up here in this zone over 4,000. See if we break that in July or sooner, and maybe in anticipation of it. And then I've got this this post from Kyle Chassie, who I've been following on Twitter. And no, I'm not calling it X. And this is, I thought it was just kind of a pretty good description of the blasé nature of the current market, as I whined about earlier in this call. You know, the biggest problem, the current crypto cycle, it's just not as fun as exciting as the last one to most of the people involved. And then he lists all the craziness we had in the last cycle in 21. I think that's what he's talking about. So you might want to follow him if you're on social media, and he posts constantly. So he's a big Solana fan, big Link fan. So those are some of the hodls I have going on. Okay, any questions or comments about the markets overall? All right, let's go over to Altcoin Alert.
I had a question.
All right.
Why do you think there wasn't some movement yesterday on Trump's indictments? I mean, I expected there to be like a little craziness, but just things went on as normal.
I think it was priced in or ignored. So that's a good question. I don't know if the legal troubles of a past president, though a viable candidate, are really enough to move the market. If it were Biden who's in office and got was convicted, that might have moved the market more on a short-term basis. But
or just everybody knew it was a scam right up front.
Well, I don't know if it's a scam, whether I'm not going to say whether the verdict was justified or not, but it's not.
I just stuck it out there.
I don't know if it's sort of too distant from the rulers to really make a big difference. But you can't always tell what's gonna move the market. So interesting question. Anybody else have some thoughts on that before we head over to Altcoin Alert? Okay. Okay, I'm on Altcoin Alert, and I have easy mode off. I am on the altcoin radar setting as opposed to the dashboard. Usually when you sign in, it's going to look like this. But I want all the information. So I'm going to turn this off, go to altcoin radar, and get all the columns. I like sorting by these columns. So we have a couple new people here. I'll give you a little brief history. Before I joined Altcoin Alert 4 years ago, almost 4 years ago in July of 2020. And I was a day trader already, had been so for about 9 months. And so I saw this as a tool to enhance my day trading. I've since expanded to some short-term swing trading as well. And quick definition, a day trade just sounds just like it says. It's a trade for 24 hours. I want to be in and out. Usually a 1 to 1.5% profit for me because I'm trading on leverage. Because I'm a experienced day trader. If you're new to this, you should stay on spot and look for those 3 to 5% moves. If you want to be a day trader, if you want to be a swing trader, hold your trade for several days, several weeks, then you can certainly go for bigger moves. And we'll talk about both shortly as we go over the charts. But that's how I use Altcoin Alert. I'm less interested in some of the other tools that it has, just because it doesn't really fit with the way I trade, but I think they have value as well. But for now, I'm going to take you through how I trade. And the first sort I do on Altcoin Alert when I sign in the morning is the AA score. So I'm going to click over here. It's going to give me values, essentially descending. I'm looking for 80 or higher, though I will cheat a little for values in the high 70s. So a good example of that would be this one here, Arweave 79.5. So AA is telling us there's a almost 80% chance that this will go up 3% or more in the next 48 to 72 hours. I've traded this already this morning, got a nice little 13% on my trade, 1.3% times 10x leverage. And I like those kind of trades. You pile those up, your balance can go pretty quickly. Even if you're not using leverage, say you're on Coinbase and you're making 2-3% on each trade, do that a few times a day and your balance will increase. You will see tangible results. Okay, let's go to the Arweave chart and I'll show you how I would evaluate this. This is my day trading layout. I've done videos about this if you want to check them out. But wait, we have an alert. Okay, the storage is one of the coins I was following from this morning. It's telling me we have a 1, 2, 3 dip pump type scenario. And I'm gonna kind of break out of my plan here and just go straight into this trade and evaluate it. This has gone above the 80 on the RTI. This is my favorite day trading tool to set alerts on, and it's dipped back down. So this could be a short for you. For those of you who are more experienced and you're trading leverage shorts, we're going to short the market. We think it's going to go down. That often happens on the weekends, lower volume, fewer trades. Frequently the market will go down. And I'm usually looking for one short trade to take over the weekend. And this might be it. So I'm going to jump over here to my auto trade, which you're not going to see, and take that short. And we'll see what happens.
What is auto trade?
Auto trading it's just a general description of a third party software I'm using to make my trades happen. It's connected to an exchange, and I've automated how I'll do multiple purchases and things like that. The comparison is 3 commas. Another thing I do, Craig and some others on this call are involved as well, is we're testing a new third-party software for trading called Carbon. But
I heard 3 commas kind of tanked.
yeah, it did, which should be good news for our friends at this new beta testing once we get it going. So
I have a question, CJ.
sure.
On your vertical cursor line, move that over till I tell you to stop. Your vertical dotted line, move it over to the right. A little further. Further, little further. Right there. Whoa, back up. Back
Here.
up. To the where it looks like the RSI crossed or touched the 20 or 25 or something. Further back. Just right down there. Can you expand it where you can see? Because it looks like your RSI was going up, your MAC, whatever the thing is on the bottom was going up, your other thing was going up. Okay, so it didn't quite touch the 20, did it?
Well, actually, this is a really good entry for a long, because it broke below the 20 and then came right back up here.
Okay.
And if we go to the price action, we can see that it went up, 1%. Not a lot, but it did go up, and then it's kind of crapping out. So
I was looking at the cumulative delta too, and between the 3, it looked like they were all headed up.
Yeah. I don't use the cumulative delta for this setup. It's a bit contrarian. I tend to use it more for once it's already established a trend. But there's nothing wrong with doing that. So, but yeah, you're right. You're got the trend going up here on the cumulative delta. It breaks the 20, and it's coming out of the green zone, the support area down here. So yeah, that's a really good, in theory anyway, a really good entry for a long, but it didn't really do that much. It kind of went sideways and up, and it's only 1%. Storage is one of my favorite altcoins to trade. It usually has bigger moves than this, but maybe it'll dip down and shoot back up. I just took it for a short, so I don't know. My superstition, well, now that I've done a short, it'll definitely go up, but anyway, we'll see what happens. So that's
CJ,
cover what you were
CJ,
asking.
can I ask?
Let me, Linnell, were you
Oh,
done?
I'm sorry.
Yes.
All right, James, go ahead.
You are trading, or is this on perpetual options, or what are you trading?
Yeah, that's perpetual. Yeah, that's what it is. Not options, but shoot, what's the term called? Yeah, perpetual derivatives, that kind of thing. And I'm trading on a workaround on Bybit on a foreign exchange, but the principles are the same. You can do this on Coinbase. I think storage is on Coinbase or on Kraken or both, and then you can make the trade I just talked about, the long trade here. You can't do the short trade on those as far as I know, but you'd have to find a foreign exchange that doesn't require KYC and exclude Americans. And there's a few options for that if you're interested.
You mentioned Bybit. Is that one of them?
Yes. Well, Bybit, we've got to work around through something called the Palau ID, which is an island nation in the Pacific, and you can become a digital citizen, get an ID, and then pass KYC on some foreign exchanges.
I see.
That's
I tell
that's a
you,
little
it didn't
outside the
work for
scope of,
VPN. It didn't work for VPN.
no, that not, you have to use a VPN too, but you have to pass KYC, and I was able to use it to do so on Bybit and BitGet and Kraken, but I was not able to pass it on Binance. So, but
Thank you.
Bybit's sufficient for my purposes. So,
So you said that
okay.
you can't, you get past with the KYC, but you don't use a VPN
No, you do.
with
You
that?
have to do both.
Okay, you'd have, that's what I thought. Okay, it was like,
Yeah.
that didn't make sense. Okay.
So, I went through the KYC process with the Palau people and passed that and got an ID and then used that to pass KYC on Bybit, and it worked. So, all right. Yeah, definitely went on a tangent on that one. So don't need that anymore. And okay, so that was the storage alert. We were distracted. We were about to look at, was it Arweave? We went through Arweave. Did we go through it on the
You just got to it.
I just got to, and then it went off. So we hadn't evaluated an Arweave day trade yet. Okay, so Arweave at the moment has been pumping. I took this trade this morning, did really well with it. I took one of these directional ones here. Let me, I think it was this one right about here. And then this is one of the annoying things of my approach. I left the alert on, the crossover on 50, which I use for trend-based alerts, and it just kind of putzed around. Multiple alerts went off over a 2 or 3 hour period. So that's kind of the price you pay to leave that on. But I did take that trade, and it did eventually, do well enough to get me out. It didn't go, I took my usual like 1.3 or 4%, whatever it was. And so good stuff there. Arweave had been pumping, and I had read the news that I talked about before this recording started about its airdrop with AO and some things going on with Arweave. And so I thought it's a bit risky to take along this close to the red zone, to the resistance area, but I had enough room to get that 1%. So I went ahead and took it. At the moment, we've broken above the 80. So I'd probably set an alert on the 50, wait for it to dip, something like this. See where it was above the 80, broke down to the 50, and then came back up. That's the trade I'd be looking for on this one. So the alert you can set on the RTI. I've already got one, so I'm not going to redo it, but I'll go through the steps. Crossing up 50. And you can do it just once if you want to make one trade, or once per bar close, and then that'll leave it on until you turn it off. The alert name, this was an alt. I usually use my information sources. So that's AA score purchase. And then on my notifications, notify in the app on my phone, pop up on my computer, and play sound also on my computer. And I usually choose one of these 3 notes reverb or chirpy or handbell, depending on what I'm doing. And that's how you do an alert for crossing the 50 on the RTI. Now, if you're a little more advanced and you want to trade it both directions, the alert looks like this. Instead of a crossover, we're going to enter a channel. 80 on top, 20 on the bottom, once per bar close, and the rest is the same as what I just showed you. and that'll create what you see here, this kind of rectangle. So if it breaks above and comes back down, I'll get an alert. If it breaks down and comes back up, I'll get an alert. That's how I like to do my my dip trades and pump trades. Okay, any questions on the day trade approach with Arweave? All right, now let's say you don't want to deal with this. You don't want alerts going off, 10 times in 2 hours like I was dealing with today, and you want to be more of a swing trader. Well, I got you covered. Let's look at that. So I've got a different setup for this. Again, I can send it to you if you're interested. I've still got the supply and demand visible range for my support and resistance. And as Craig often points out, not all TradingView subscriptions have this. I've got the premium package. I think the top 2 probably have this, and maybe some of the lower ones don't. So you might have to look for a different support and resistance, but there's a bunch of them, here in the indicators. If you type in support and resistance, there's a bazillion of them. So you want to put that on your chart. And at the moment, I've got my SuperTrend in the Trendilo LSMA, simple moving average. So when these two match up, that's something I'm going to look at. On Arweave at the moment, we're in the red zone. I would want to long this probably. I don't know if I'd want to short it based on the good news it's had, but it might be due for a retrace. When I do a swing trade, I'm looking for usually around 10% on a chart on either a spot trade or low leverage. I've been doing 3% leverage on my spot trading lately, and then some just spot on Coinbase. So this entry I don't like that much. Plus I'm going to go onto some larger time frames and look for where the resistance is above this. So 1 hour, it's about the same. 4 hours, okay, got a little to work with here. Back on the 20th, Arweave was up to 48, around $49. So if I got in now, I could pick up 8%, and it took 12 days to dip that far and come back. One could anticipate it could take that long to go up again. So yeah, if you want to swing trade and get in here, I think that would be reasonable. I would go in small and then save some additional funds to buy in down here in case if it went against me. And I'd probably ladder, and the term I use is ladder buy. Some people use dollar cost averaging. I would ladder buy down here around 38.50. And then, maybe again down here around $30. And just know if you have to do that many ladder buys, you're going to be in it for a while. But where do you get in? Well, I would probably go to the 30-minute chart, maybe the hour, either one, depending on what you're feeling that day. And I'm going to right click on the SuperTrend. You can do, if you want to trade it both directions, probably on a shorter time frame, you can just select direction change. But I'm looking for a buy, and I just leave it on only once, and that's an AA score. Yeah, I'll probably go, I usually use handbell for my swing trades. Click create, and you're good to go. So what happens in that scenario is it'll eventually dip, print a sell, and then it'll come back up and print another buy. So when that new buy signal appears, like what we have here, I'm going to look at my LSMA to see if that's trending in my direction, use that for confirmation, then see where I am as far as support and resistance on this time frame, and then some of the others I showed you earlier, the 1 hour, the 4 hour, maybe even the day or the week, to see where I think it can go. I like retraces. Breaking through all-time highs and price discovery is a little less appealing to me, but to each his own. So that's how I would handle that swing trade. Any questions on Arweave and a swing trade possibility? All right. I'm gonna go look at some other sorts on Altcoin Alert. I'm gonna go faster because I went over these in some detail. And we're already on for about 25, 30 minutes, so I don't want it to be too long. Okay, I'm gonna reload, get the most current information. We did an AA score before. The other one I like is social activity. I like to match this up with trading activity. And when I see fire and thumbs up together, that's something I want to look at in some more detail. We've got that with Engine Coin, ENJ, which is a coin I like to trade. Traded it yesterday, moves pretty well. And some of these others, I don't know as well. Rose, I traded that earlier in the week. Alice is pumped today. I don't know why. Some of these just pump randomly. Dusk is an older project, but still hanging around. Let's go with ENJ. So I was looking at this earlier before the Zoom call started, because it did a big dip. Let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick on the 15. Yeah, so it kind of followed Bitcoin from this dip earlier this afternoon, late morning. And it's kind of going sideways here around 31.5 cents. So it has not broken the 20. You know, if it weren't Friday afternoon, I'd be looking for this, you know, but as I said earlier, I don't like, we have lower volume generally on the weekends, so I don't usually take long trades this late on a Friday. I like to do a short, as I mentioned earlier, but for the sake of instruction, let's I think what I would do with this one is set an alert on the RTI. I would go with crossing up on the 20. You can leave that on all day if you want, or just do it once. And this was a social activity sort. Once you type these in a few times, TradingView will remember it, kind of like a database. And, you know, use whatever alert you want to use. So when it breaks above the 20, that should be good to go. Now we had a fake out earlier here. It broke above the 20, just went up a little bit and then cratered. Yeah, I might have gotten onto that one. It's kind of putzing around the 20 for quite a while since yesterday afternoon. This one's due, I think, to break above and take, I don't know if it take off, but at least get a couple percent. So that could be a decent day trade. Any questions on ENJ as a day trade? Okay, as a swing. Yeah, this one's pretty easy as a swing. It's in the green zone now. Just printed a couple green candles on the 30-minute. So yeah, this one's easy. Just right click on your SuperTrend. Go with a buy. Social activity sort. So when that alert goes off, you know, look at your LSMA, see if it's hooking up yet. It's on a hard downward red trend at the moment. So you may have to wait a little bit, or you can use some other, you know, some other indicator as confirmation if you want. This is just the one I've been using most recently. But yeah, I like this as a potential entry for a long on ENJ. Any questions on this one? Okay, let's do one more. And we will go to long-term sentiment, which is another sort I like. And we're going to look for a short. So instead of sorting for bullish, I'm going to reverse it and go for bearish. So I'm going to match the long-term sentiment with the Elder Impulse hourly. Sentiment is what people are talking about online, usually on Twitter. And Elder Impulse hourly is a technical indicator. Bryce actually talked about this indicator, I think it was yesterday. No, actually it was on Tuesday during the AA call. I guess there's a gentleman named Elder who came up with it. Anyway, if I see a match on bearish, and then it also has to be on an exchange I know that I can short. So ENJ, we just looked at. You don't have a match on Atom. That's another one I like to trade. Raven, I could do that one. Maker, ONT, yeah, and then let's go with Raven Coin, RVN. It's an older project. And we'll see what we can do with this one. So if I weren't looking for a short, this isn't bad for a long. Had it not been hooking down on the RTI. Got a little bit of confirmation here on the cumulative delta on a long, but not much going on with the short. Now if it hooks down with some force and the delta flips over as well, this could be a good short entry as something that's breaking below the 50. On the shorts I usually take though, I like a setup more like this that breaks below the 80. And let me get my horizontal line. Yeah, I'm more interested in this coming out of the red zone and then breaking down out of below the 80 on the RTI. That's yeah, that's a really good short there. You know, over 3%. Love that. So I think that's the one I would lean towards. So instead of setting an alert on the 50, I'd go with this alert here. Right click on the RTI. Crossing down on the 80. Either once per bar close or once. And that's going to be a long-term sentiment sort. And yeah, set that up as you want. Now we had a break below the 50 here earlier this morning and made a nice move down. So that's a possibility. This one breaks down hard on the 50. I'd probably go ahead and get in, keep some funds back in case it went back up against me. And but I do think the ideal entry is something like this over here. Coming out of the red zone and below the 80 on the RTI. Any questions on a short day trade on Raven? All right. Do we want to do a short swing trade in what's presumed to be a bull market? It's a bit risky. And I don't like this setup at all. You don't want to short at support. Don't like this. Yeah, I probably just wouldn't do it. Maybe look for a breakdown below support. Maybe do a price alert down here below the green zone. Crossing, yeah. And long-term sentiment on a short. It's probably what I would do on that one. But I probably wouldn't do anything on this one because I don't like this area. I want my shorts, you know, around something like this. Better entries on shorts. When it's had a pump and it's shown that that pump has definitely lost steam, that's where I want to do my shorts. Okay, any questions on Raven?
I don't have a specific question on Raven, CJ. Logistically, how many trades do you have trades going concurrently, or do you focus on one trade to completion? Or, I mean, obviously a swing trade may be a little different than a day trade. How does that go?
It's a good question. On a swing trade, I usually have 5 to 15 going at any time, but obviously those are being held longer. I look at them once a day. But day trade, day trading is more hands-on, and I usually have 1 or 2 going, sometimes none if there's no entry. But you know, I've got 2 going at the moment. I had as many as 3. 3 is about the max I do for day trading. And yeah, I think yesterday I only had 1, just because you know the market didn't really do much. So
You mentioned lower volume market conditions on weekends.
mhm.
I didn't hear you, or maybe I missed it. Do you use the volume indicators in terms of your directions and choices?
Yeah, it's a good idea to have one of those for confirmation. They're sort of implied with some of the others that I use, but yeah, a lot of traders you have a specific volume indicator. And there are several you can choose from. I probably have a few of them starred myself. I just don't really have any on these setups. So yeah, I have a bunch of them starred. I think I tried to just trade off of it instead of using it as a volume flow indicator by Lazy Bear. I like his stuff.
Uh-huh.
So that could be an option if you want to use one.
I'm sorry, what was that name? I can't read it very good.
Volume flow indicator by Lazy
Yeah.
Bear. He's a
Oh,
contributor
okay.
to indicators or with indicators on
Thank you.
TradingView. And then you had asked about a couple other coins. Do you want to look at one of those before we go?
Sure.
Okay, which
Not coin.
Not.
The symbol was NOT.
Yeah. It's on most. Yeah, it's not on Coinbase yet. Yeah, I don't see it on something that you can, the centralized exchange that can really use in the US. But we'll look at it on a Binance chart. So on the 15-minute on a day trade, it's got a good, kind of a good groove right now. It just broke above the 20. The cumulative is mostly sideways. And then you've got room to, oh, I like this, 9% to the red zone. I don't know if I'd wait that long. Maybe there's a little bit of resistance here at around 1257. So on a day trade, I kind of like it where it is now. Hold some funds back in case it goes against you. On a swing, let's see what else we got on the 30. We're pretty close to all-time highs, I think. Yeah, this one's a fairly new coin, if I remember right. So we're pretty much in price discovery on this one. At the moment, it's in a buy on the SuperTrend, which would have been a good entry. You know, 15, 20% maybe back on Wednesday, but for now, the trend, the LSMA is pointing pretty hard down red, but the candle action sideways, so it might work its way back up. You could set an alert for the next buy signal if you want. That probably won't happen till later on the weekend or Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to go through a sell and then a buy. You could set a price alert down here in this kind of resistance or support area around between probably a little bit below 1 cent, around 0.0935 looks like. That could be a pretty good entry, and then hold some funds back in case it dives down here down to 0.005. So yeah, it's been moving, but it's close to resistance now. You know, I'd want to get in around here, ideally down here on a swing trade. That's me.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions about any other coins you want to look at? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining me on a Friday. Have a good weekend, and whoa, we just got an alert. Can't go yet. Got to check out this alert. All right, what we got? Storage again. So yeah, this is one of those annoying things that happens. If you set an alert and you keep it on, like I have mine, if it putzes around that area, it'll keep going off. So I'll probably turn this off after I let you guys go. Anyway, so I will do that. You guys have a good weekend. If you're watching on the recording, thanks for that. Hope to see you live next time. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help fund the channel. And hopefully we'll see you guys Monday. Bye.
Thanks, CJ.
Thank you. Thank you.